If you think you can coast into 2026, think again. Insights EDU is coming February 17th to the 19th, 2026, and it's taking over Fort Lauderdale for a beachfront experience. It's the event that will flip your marketing and enrollment strategy on its head. 3 days, over 65 expert speakers, and over 40 sessions. Zero fluff. Just powerhouse strategies from the most anticipated platforms like Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and the most forward-thinking schools in the nation. You'll get the real wins, the bold ideas, and the hands-on tactics to grow programs, drive engagement, and create the student experience today's modern learner demands. The question is, are you ready to lead, or will you get left behind? Mark your calendar, bring your team, and secure your spot at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15, 2025. See you in Fort Lauderdale.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the EdUp Experience podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jody Blinko, and I'm super excited for our guest today, producer and host of the College Tour series, streaming on Amazon Prime. His name is Alex Boylan. Welcome, Alex. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. So the College Tour series, over 15 seasons now. We're going to talk a lot more about what it is and what you do. We're going to get into the weeds here in a minute, but 15 seasons streaming on Amazon Prime. This is your brainchild. You are also the host. Tell us a little bit more about what you do, traveling to these college campuses and showing the story of the campus through the eyes of the student. Tell us more.
Absolutely. So each episode it's kind of simple at the end of the day, although there's a lot to it. But each episode of the College Tour is exactly what you said. It tells the story of a different institution through the authentic lens of their current students going there right now. And as you've probably seen, and as you mentioned, we've done a lot of seasons, almost 200 episodes now. And that's everything from the smallest tribal colleges, community colleges, trade school, HBCUs, Christian schools, big state schools, and everything in between. And just, we're this voice box for higher education, and what an amazing experience it is. I mean, our goal is on a macro level to tell the story of every institution out there, but most importantly, inspire the next generation. I mean, we are so blessed to be in a country with so many different options and avenues to higher education. What that looks like is different for every young person or person transitioning if they're older in their career. And so we want to tell those stories and encourage people. I mean, we're so blessed to have so many options out there, but how do you navigate the space? That is a challenge, right? Because there is a lot. And that's what the College Tour is here to do. So
tell us where did the idea or the concept of the College Tour come from? What sparked the
Absolutely.
brainchild?
Quick background even before that. So I'm a travel producer. I've been filming around the world my entire career, mostly travel adventure shows. Lisa Hennessy, same thing. She was one of the first employees at Mark Burnett Production, helped launch Survivor and those big, competition reality adventure shows. So the executive team has a lot of experience, making television. But it's interesting. So 5 years ago, my niece, she's from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Okay. She is a junior. She's just starting this college search process. Her mom, my older sister, says, okay, I'm going to give you one trip. And so she's like, I want to see Uncle Alex in Los Angeles. I live in Venice Beach. And I think that was the number one reason why she wanted to come out here. So she comes. And we have this really cool week, very special for me as the uncle. We went to a number of different institutions in Southern California. And at the end of that week, we're sitting down, we're having dinner, kind of wrapping up thoughts. And she looks over at her mom. She's like, okay, I want to look at some schools where you and Uncle Alex grew up. We grew up in Boston, in the Boston area. I want to see some schools in this state, in that state. I'll never forget it. And, the words out of my sister, and it was out of necessity. Like, they didn't have the funds. She's like, Isabel, we don't have money to go travel around to all these colleges. She's like, I told you one trip. If it wasn't for your uncle sitting here in Los Angeles, we probably wouldn't be here. And that stuck with me. This is my niece. She's in this amazing part of her life and trying to navigate this next chapter. And so I said to Isabel, Isabel, why don't we get together once a week on Zoom, just like this, and discuss this, and it'll be a fun uncle niece experience. Well, I'm about 30 minutes into our first Zoom session and I'm lost. Okay. I'm like, how do you, once again, going back to this, we're so blessed to have so many choices, but it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
How do I get the cultural fit? How do I know what location is right for me? How do I get those intangible feelings without setting foot on the campus? And we always say there is nothing better than stepping foot on the campus, because what's that feeling going to be like?
Yes.
But that is not the case for so many students. So we kind of reverse engineer it. How do we create something? This is our background, is making TV shows, and bring it to the students. How do we take that campus experience and share it? And that is where, as simple as the college tour, I was like, I make TV shows. My friends and partners here make TV shows. Can we make one about college campuses? And who would have thought, just from that one little idea, here we are, almost wrapping up season 15.
Wrapping up season 15. It sounds like this was 5 years ago that this
this all about started. I'd say production started about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when you think back to that first season, what were some of the most surprising experiences, thoughts, like as you're going into this process and you're doing these virtual experiences, or I mean, you're physically there, but you're creating this virtual experience. What was surprising to you as you were bringing this to life?
Lots of, I mean, like any kind of new venture, you learn a lot just by taking these first few steps and making it happen. I would say big picture, we were learning alongside. I mean, who would have thought Hollywood and higher education would fit so well together? We think the same way, right? It's all like project based. This is what we're at. This is the mountain we need to climb, and we build it. So it was really fun. I think, it all goes back to these students. I mean, they're the ones who have the great stories. Okay. And so I think that our process of how we make an episode is probably the most, which is, we fine-tuned over many, many years now. But even if we go back to that season 1, just the idea of an open casting call, which is part of our process. Any episode we do these, virtual flyers that go out where students click a button and put their ad. We're used to that. We're used to casting, right? Yep. And so taking that to the college landscape, I think what was really fun is, because obviously we're working with the institution to what are the right stories to be telling of this institution? Then we got to find the right students that have that story, and then how are you going to put this all together in an episode? But what I think was probably the most fascinating, I'll tell a story about at the University of Illinois. We were never going to tell a story about engineering. Okay. It just wasn't part of what the institution was leaning into. Okay. But in this open casting call, there was a student named Mahir who puts and his story was so profound. Here's this kid from India who grew up like tinkering and taking toasters apart and putting them back together. Probably didn't even know what the word engineering was, but he was an engineer. That's where his passion lied. And then while in his high school years, he finds this professor that's doing this really cool engineering work. So this kid in this town in India has this vision of, I need to go to University of Illinois, right? And I need to go work with this professor. Yeah. So while we're in the casting process, we hear the student's story. And now this student is a grad assistant for that professor. That journey from India, right, all the way to the University of Illinois Champaign, it was such a profound story that obviously it's in the episode. You can go watch that. And I think that's probably the most fun part of making the show, and probably the biggest, not even just, we're kind of used to it, but we're doing this with an institution. And I think through our process, there's so many stones unturned within that institution that they don't even know, right? How's everyone know everyone's story? But by making this episode, it kind of brings the whole campus together. It's exciting. They're about to be on Amazon Prime. And so it just gets everyone to lean in, and you find all these amazing stories. So, and I'd say the second piece that I found the most fascinating when we were coming early on, and season 1 is a template for every season. Fort Lewis College, Durango, Colorado, small school in the mountains, Delaware Valley University, an ag school, in the state, in kind of remote, in a beautiful area near Doylestown, Pennsylvania, to ASU of the world. Everyone knows University of Connecticut, University of Illinois. It was like the juxtaposition of these big state schools with all this, everyone knows their brand, to many other institutions that in general are not nationally known, and how fun it was for us to bring each one of those alive and just bring those stories together in a way that's never really been done before. So pretty cool.
Well, so I have a couple thoughts going as you're talking. I'm really curious for you to walk us through what is that process? If I'm a president of an institution or a VP or provost and I'm listening to this, I'm like, wow, this sounds like something that we would really be interested in engaging in. Walk us through, what is that process like? I'm sure there's a ton of different steps, but high level, simplify it.
Yeah.
What's that process like if an institution says, hey, bring the college tour to us?
Absolutely. And I can break this into, like, this is how we make television. So I'm going to do this kind of funnel of how we're going to work together. But can I back up real quick? Because for the presidents and VPs of enrollment and all this, of like the why the college tour? Why is the college tour working? I think it's a great, before we get to the process, imagine just how we're smiling and sitting here talking about these students in Amazon Prime. So imagine most presidents, and we have a digital series called Coffee with the President. I've gotten to meet almost 200 of them and speak with them. They have a really big job, right? They're talking to government officials. They're working with big donors. They're talking to businesses for collaborations, all kinds of stuff of what their job entails.
Yeah.
When there's an episode of their institution on Amazon Prime, it changes those conversations in a positive way. So this episode, we never set off, never was even thinking about this, helps the presidents do their jobs better. Go over to enrollment. Obviously, every school's different. Some people, or advancement. Let's go over to alumni, and I'll use my alma mater, Jacksonville University. I get an email once every 2 weeks asking for donations. That's what they do. It's to engage the alumni. But what happens with JU when their episode airs, imagine all their alumni is like, wait, Jackson University's on Amazon Prime? They care about it. They watch their episode. Now they're re-engaged with the school. So it helps the advancement team do their job. And of course, there's enrollment and getting, more students to learn more about their story. Think about the athletic director with NIL now and all those different rules. And so it basically, this one episode airing on Amazon Prime, and there's lots of distribution and lots of pieces that go along with the college tour, but it's that one simple idea that helps every major piece of the institution. It's almost like a facelift for the entire institution. Everyone's got this asset to be able to use to help tell their story in their different capacities for what they need to be done. So I love to just kind of like super big picture, because there is a lot that goes on with the college tour, but at the simplicity, that's why I believe this is working. It's working for so many institutions. Although every institution has different, some people need more students. Some it is re-engaging with alumni. Some it's like they really want to, work with a number of different businesses. And so this episode just helps them do that, which, we always set off for the next generation just to learn about the school, but it's really fun to see all the different ways that the show is helping the institution. Okay, so think about this in about 4 phases, because it takes about 6 months to make an episode.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we attack this just like we attack any show.
I feel like we're getting some good Hollywood behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
info, right?
Yeah. We're and you know what's fun about the college tour? We're pretty much an open set too, which is rare. And when we're on, we always tell students can come on out, bring the media. Like, we're pretty transparent about how we make this show. I mean, we're very fortunate to have some of the best cinematographers and producers and storytellers. These are all of our friends we've made shows with entire career now working on it. So But let's say the first phase of this is going to be, we call it pre-production, but it's planning. And so our producing team has like once a week calls with the institution. And that is where we're, all right, what is the stories here that we want to tell? We're starting to put those on a board. Let's get that big casting call that I was talking about. Let's get that out to all the students. And really it becomes this matchmaking process, learning what student stories are available, which students want to be featured, and then what stories. And so eventually that's probably the first piece of it. It's like, we got to cast the episode. And then we work with those students to articulate their story. And of course, there's nothing that happens. This is a full collaboration with the institution. So we're working in, some schools there's one person, some there's a huge team working, everyone's a little different. But now we'll be bringing that story to life. And so the producers are working with the student to get their script down. What is their story? Then how are we going to bring that story to life? And there's a lot that goes into that. Maybe if they're talking about a summer abroad experience they did in Ireland, we can't fly over to Ireland. Do we have pictures of that story? Okay. Oh, it's something that's happened on campus. We'll make sure we find time to go shoot that B-roll. So all of that good stuff of just planning for that time is going to happen over the course of roughly 2 months. And that's going to lead right up into the filming week that we're on location. And that is so much fun because, press can be there, students can be part of this. And then we're just, it's a production schedule. It's dialed in. We're going to shoot student A at this point. I should say film student A at this point in time. And we're going to get their A-roll done. Then we're going to get some of their students and they're on the hockey team or they're in the chemistry club, whatever it is, we're going to go film all these other pieces that helps bring their story of what their life looks like to life. Mm-hmm. So that takes that depends on, a couple different variables, but that's about a week long that we're on location. And once again, I said that we're an open set. And of course I'm there for one of the days because I'm the host of the show and we do some fun things. And so that takes about a week. And then post-productions, that's for almost another 2 months. There's not that's more on our end. We're just kind of chewing through all that footage. I mean, we filmed like roughly 16 hours of footage that's got to get narrowed down to this, whatever the time length is for the episode. And so that takes about a couple months and we work back and forth with the institution. Once again, each piece of this is working with the institution to make sure everything is perfect. And then we lock the episode. Then it moves into our marketing and distribution. And we have meetings set for each different department that we're going to go through with the institution. And of course, there's our distribution that we roll out. So, okay, cool. It's going to go to the college tour here. It's going to, we have a huge database of all the high school counselors across the country. It's going to run like a newsletter here. Here's when it's going to go to Amazon, Tubi, whatever it is, right? So we're going to lay that all out, which is, we call it a rolling launch because we are always coming on with new partnerships with new distribution channels because our goal is to get this out as far as wide as possible. Yeah. Shoot it from, the big microphone. And so we kind of walk through that. And then also, I think of the college tour, imagine it's almost 200 institutions from small to big that, they're going to own their episode, right? So they get to use this episode. We want them to use that. So there's 1,000 different ways the institution's going to be able to use this for their different areas and departments. So our marketing team will walk through, here's an institution that was really working on retention. And this is how they use the episode to do that. Here's another institution was really trying to push this. This is how they use the episode. So it's this evergreen long tail. Like we're still best friends with season 1 and they're still using their episodes and the different student stories for all their different, purposes at the institution. And so that's, top to bottom, probably around a 6-month experience. Although once again, I get phone calls all the time where it's like, hey, Alex, so we look at this as a family. And as we grow, the institutions grow and it's awesome.
What an amazing time capsule and artifact for the institution too, to have this timestamp of when this episode was filmed and these stories. And, I was sharing a little bit with you before we hit record about my background in consulting. And one of the common things that comes up with institutions is just being able to share their story in a way to get that out there. And I love what you said about why the college tour series. Why would an institution, what is the benefit? And you shared so many different angles of whether it's advancement or, for the president or media, but such an organic, real, authentic way to tell the story of the institution. And I love that it's through the eyes of the student. It's not that there's anything wrong with the president telling the story, but the lens of the president is different than the sophomore that's playing baseball and who's eating the food and living the experience and just really sharing that. It's just such a great idea and so powerful.
Mark your calendars now for February 17th to the 19th, 2026. Because if you miss this, you'll be playing catch up all year. This is the future unbound and the most important Higher Ed Marketing and Enrollment Management Conference of 2026. Insights EDU is taking over Fort Lauderdale, where Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top institutions nationwide will pull back the curtain on what's next. Are you ready to adapt or be left behind? Insights EDU 2026 is where leaders become game changers. Register now at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025.
Yeah, well, thank you. Once again, this was all because my niece couldn't navigate, but it is interesting if you go back to those early time when I'm with my niece trying to help her on this journey. Yeah. So I just tell people, I went through this. I know what this is like. And it's a challenge, right? So if it's a challenge for me, it's a challenge for my niece, it's challenging for millions of others out there. And every institution does an amazing job telling their story. They do. It's just different, right? So you might get to one school and they do great social media. Another one, you get to their website, oh, it's great blogs and content. Oh, these ones have slick commercials. Nothing's ever been created. We're used to it in TV called formats. So I know when I know what to expect, I know how it flows, and now I can really judge it. And so that's our whole goal, is to take this campus, bring it to the living rooms or the phones or wherever you're watching it, and you want to feel like you're there. And so whether you can never afford to get to the campus, hopefully you can feel those intangibles. Or, maybe that you only get 2 trips, and this could help you narrow it down, right? We hear that from colleges all the time, and universities saying, oh man, we had whole families here, and like, oh, we watch you on the college tour. And that's and then you think about the other experience of this. And I've done this with my next niece, who's younger than the original one. I took her on a college tour trip about a year and a half ago. And you get there, the tours are great. But imagine it's one student typically, right? They have a personality, and a bunch of other students and parents, high schoolers typically, and parents.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of how your experience goes to the personality, right?
Absolutely.
100%, right?
Yep.
And what's fun about the college tour is you don't have to worry about that now. You can watch it on screen, but now you get a full breadth of what the campus dynamic and culture is like. And it's not so much like, oh, maybe I really resonated with this student that's taking it. Maybe I didn't. But when you're watching a number of students, you get a full breadth of, hopefully you see yourself in one of them.
And I would think too, it allows you to be present in a different way, even though you're not physically present there maybe yet. To your point and what you're sharing, there's not maybe the interference of the energy of the other people in the group tour or the student that's leading the tour. You get to sit in your living room or on your phone and unfiltered, just take in and be fully present in this experience of, wow, I'm really connecting with this. I think this is one of my top 2, or this is my top 1 where I want to go visit.
Absolutely. And what's fun, one of my favorite emails, and I would say this is for everyone at the college tour, that we receive, and we get these quite often, it's from parents, okay? And they're writing how it connected them with their high schooler. We get these all the time where it's like,
wow,
together, because, sometimes it's hard to get your student, your young person. What are you interested in? Where do you want to go? If that's, and now what they were doing, a lot of times it's like they're once a week, they're picking an episode and watching it together as a family, and it gets them talking. It gets them thinking. It gets questions going. What type of location? What culture is right? It's not like every high, and I'm speaking about just high schoolers, and we speak to a broader audience in that, but still, how do they know what major exactly they want to go into at that point in time? So just learning about majors is a massive win for them to be like,
absolutely.
No, that was a major. That's cool. And so that is one of the, I think another, like, just when I would say I have the best job in the world, like just the heartwarmingness of this is that it's, showing that the future is bright. We're so blessed to be in a country with all these amazing institutions.
Yeah.
And the idea that it's like bringing families or starting questions, and we hear it in we have 60,000 high school counselors on our newsletter database. If you think about it, another thing, I've learned all this, I don't come from higher education or education. A high school counselor is trying to navigate, how is one high school counselor supposed to navigate 2,000 students?
All of it. Yeah.
Where they're supposed to go to school. That is really, and most of the time these high school counselors are more focused just getting them out of high school. It's every class going right. So it's a really complicated thing. So we have quickly become this massive resource for high school counselors, but allows them to start the conversation. Here, watch, and on the college tour, we have a cool class that just breaks it. It breaks up the college tour into a way of saying, let's talk about location. And then you can answer questions like, here's mountains in the city, rural, all that. And let's talk about majors. Let's talk about these 4 basic subject matters that just gets them, like, maybe the parents, their future students never even thought about it. And now by watching other students, and as you've mentioned a couple of times, what's great, it's like, there's nothing better than a 60 or 70-year-old listening to a 20-year-old. They want to be that 20-year-old.
Yeah. So you mentioned over 200 institutions. We're on 15 seasons now.
Almost 200. Yeah.
Close enough. Yeah. So, and that's all been within the US, but when we were chatting before, you have done some semester at sea, you called it. So like an international component.
Do you know semester at sea?
I don't. No, I'm not
Okay,
familiar.
it's awesome. It's awesome. It comes out of the University of Colorado or Colorado State. Anyway, this is a ship that goes around the world.
Oh,
Okay,
yes. Yes.
and so you get college credit while you're on the ship. And what an amazing experience for students that can, set off on that voyage. So that's
Yeah.
the only international. We did an episode on Semester at Sea, which is really cool, but we joined them just from a logistics standpoint of the boat.
Got it.
In the Red Sea in Jordan, and then we followed the boat to their next destination, which was in Mombasa and Nairobi, Kenya area. And
Wow.
so we we filmed. So that's our first international shoot. But we're always, we've always thought the college tour will go international at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that we haven't talked about yet that from what I understand, is fairly new from the college tour is the studentregistry.com. Can you
Yeah.
tell us about the student registry? Where did it come from? What does it do? It's brilliant. I love the idea, but tell
Yeah,
us more.
absolutely. And this was fun because this was born out of, we're fortunate to be on all these college campuses across the country. And one of the pieces that we hear of all the time from students is, just how do I pay for college? Let's just get as simple as that,
Yep.
And as we know, and I look at my niece, I'll use her as an example. It takes a village sometimes to help a student get through, and not only from encouragement and all this. So knowing that is like, how do we make this easier for the student?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a crowdfunding registry site where any students, an open platform, can go in, create their profile, tell their story. We have this budget creator where they can go in and like, here's what my tuition is going to cost. And so it helps them start itemizing what their college cost is going to be. But and then tell their story and then share that profile with friends, extended family, their community, their churches, wherever, they can share that message out there. And it's fun. You can come on there and be like, oh, cool. I'm putting $200 towards your books or what have you. And really what's great is that it's two things. I like the fact that students are putting an anchor in the sand saying, I'm going to school here, right?
Yeah.
And that will happen, and telling their friends and their family and their community about that. But most importantly, it allows the community to chip in and take some of the burden off the student, and hopefully lighten their load a little bit as they go on their journey.
So if someone wants to learn more about this, they go to studentregistry.com and
the studentregistry.com.
Okay.
All the information's right there. It's super easy to create a profile and share it out.
Well, Alex, tell us a little bit more about you've talked about the vision that you have to be able to spread the college tour far and wide and be able to reach as many institutions as possible. We've talked about the studentregistry.com and really how that's helping students to share that they're going to school, but also overcome that challenge of cost. What haven't we talked about yet that you want to share or want to pass along about the college tour?
We've covered a lot. There's nothing that's coming to mind. As you can tell, we love what we do. Took me a while to learn this. We're not an ad agency. That was a big thing because I think colleges and universities, institutions are used to work. We're a production company. We don't do everything for everyone. We do this one thing. We do it extremely well. And it's just been fun to watch it grow. And, one of the things we always talk about is just listening to higher ed. And we're all so passionate about this chapter of our lives that hopefully never ends, of helping lift up once again. I mean, be honest, it's like you go into the media and higher ed has had some headwinds in a number of different aspects. And I think the biggest part that we love about this, it's that, we need to stand up to higher education. We need to stand up for higher education. Mm-hmm. Look at where this world is going, from AI, machine learning, just the speed at which technology and everything is happening. And it doesn't matter, not just with technology, the trades, the amazing opportunities that are in the trade schools right now, across the board. It is such an exciting time. And it is, I can't stand when I hear like negative narrative out there about higher ed, because that is not, I'm like, if you want to feel good about this country and the world and the next generation, watch the college tour. These are what these institutions, I always say, it's like they should be called a playground. There's never another time in your life that you're going to have this playground with access to
true.
so many resources and so many other people with different states of mind, and for you to play and learn and figure out this next chapter, because life's short, and you might as well make the most of it. And these colleges and universities are doing such an amazing job with this bridging students out and launching them into amazing career paths. We need to be celebrating them. We should be talking about how incredible we are in a country that there is a path for everyone to go on to higher education. It's going to look different for everyone, and what's right for everyone's different, but there is a path. And so I'm extremely proud, and our entire team is extremely proud of being on this mission to tell the story of higher ed.
Well, and you talked about this a little bit just now, but what a powerful time to uplift these stories and talk about the different pathways available to everyone to pursue their education. As you said, it's going to look different for everybody, but the opportunity to tell these stories, to showcase these campuses and give them a voice and uplift. I know there's so many institutions that have a lot of unknowns right now in the higher ed landscape, just wondering what does the future look like. And so this is such an opportunity and a tool to be able to share their story and showcase what they offer and the experience of their campus.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's an honor. It really is an honor.
And I love what you said earlier, like first 5 minutes of our conversation, like who would have thought Hollywood and higher ed could be friends, or even, that there's so many similarities, but you and your team have really brought this to life in a way that Hollywood is being a friend to higher ed and saying, hey, let's help you showcase what you do for your students.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last question for you, any words of wisdom with all of your producing and travel and anything that you want to share with our listeners, words of wisdom that you would pass along?
Oh man. So where do I go? Have fun, smile. Honestly, as simple as that. Like there's not like some massive, I can't think of anything massively like intelligent to say right now, but we just live in this world where I just feel like the divisiveness that we hear in media, that we kind of sometimes think is out there in the marketplace, man, like it's not the case. I always tell people, I am in so many different communities. Fortunately, I'm on almost 2 college campuses a week because that's the pace at which the college goes.
Yeah.
And this country is awesome. These young people are awesome. All the people who are working in higher education are amazing. Like, listen, this country is in great hands. This world's in great hands. Like, I think about when I came out of college and like what was in my head, it was nothing compared to what this next generation. I mean, they want to change the world for the better. And and higher education is doing such a great job of fostering these young minds and catapulting them out there. So to me, we're blessed, have some fun. Don't sweat the small things.
Love it.
It's on the prize.
Great way to end this. Alex, thank you for being here with us. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the EdUp Experience podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jody Blinko, and our guest, Alex Boylan, producer and host of the College Tour series streaming on Amazon Prime. 15 seasons, season 15 coming out. When does it launch, Alex?
15 will be in a few months because we're still filming now. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, you got 14 other seasons to go check out on Amazon Prime. And Alex, if an institution wants to connect with you to potentially be on the College Tour series, they would go to thecollegetour.com.
That's an easy way, but I'll just give you my personal email because of this. Alex@thecollegetour.com. Send me an email directly. But yes, there's a contact page on our website that anyone can go to, and that will get filtered to different producers based on wherever that institution is located. So, but reach out to me. I'm happy to chat with anyone. As you can tell, we love what we do. So
yes, I can feel that energy and passion coming from you, and that authenticity. And what a better way, if you're listening to this, to be able to share your story with the just as much reach as possible for your prospective students to really get a feel for the energy and the vibe on your campus. So thank you again, Alex, for being a part of our conversation today. Yes. And you all, thank you for listening. Until next time, you've just been EdUp.
Attention higher ed leaders, it's time to shake up your marketing and enrollment strategy. Join us at Insights EDU, February 17th to the 19th, 2026 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a beachfront experience and the best higher education marketing and enrollment management conference. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com. The future unbound is at Insights EDU 2026.